Welcome to the AMP Hour. Released June 18th, 2022. Episode number 594. AI aren't sentient yet, right?
Welcome to the AMP Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics and a big fan of the Altium wrap. My friend sent it to me after last week's episode with Ben.
Okay. Yep.
And my friend sent me the actual video. I'm actually not a big fan of the Altium wrap, which was mentioned in the show.
But you are a muso, so you've got some idea, right?
I have any sense of taste at all. It's just like, yeah,
right.
Like, there was like a period where like lots of people were making really bad raps. I'm not sure this is actually pretty late in that time period, I believe.
Hang on, I'm just playing it. Because I haven't seen it for ages. There's Marty Hoff riding a unicycle. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the staff. No, I definitely wasn't in that.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I enjoyed that episode last week. Like I said, the rap, not my favorite.
Yeah,
but it was good hearing from Ben.
Yeah, it was great. It was for those who haven't had to listen to it. It was basically just an hour of us talking shit about Altium. Well, talking good and bad
talking
things,
old. It's just old stories. It's like listening in at the bar.
Yeah. No, it was just a couple of old colleagues hanging out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to go.
Oh boy, that is bad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, it's really bad. Yeah.
Anyways,
we'll link it in again just for funsies.
the Altium Innovation Station.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Well,
actually, I meant to tell you, I have been reading a book that you might be interested in.
Yes.
It's called Iron Empires. It is all about the history of rail maybe you don't care about the US, but it's like all of the people building like large rail empires, I guess that's been the title. But
rail infrastructure. Yeah,
like the people that were building railroads and just like all of the back and forth and yeah, I don't know. It's just it was really interesting. I don't know if there would be a similar kind of book about. I would think rail in Australia would probably be a little more boring and straightforward. It was just like
probably, yep.
But around here, because of like the manufacturing time, turn of the century type of stuff,
they were pioneering everything, and that's for those who don't know. That's what made the United States was the railroad. Right.
Transcontinental type stuff. So you could get. I mean, they even talk about it to get it. They talk about the Golden Spike is like so in Utah where a lot of the mountains start. That's like they're bringing together railroads, and that was like this big thing. But it wasn't not until like 20 or 30 years later when they actually had like significant reliable infrastructure all the way coast to coast. But then when you have that, you could ship stuff. Basically, you can go overland from Asia and basically get stuff to like England and other big markets. And just like, just the value of having transportation and marketplaces and stuff like that is just, you could really move a lot of material.
Yep.
And there's a lot of money in it. So it's very interesting.
Totally. Well, that's, who were all the barons, the railroad barons who made their fortunes, and
that's a lot of the characters in this are like Jay Gould and Vanderbilt and
the Vanderbilts. Yep. That's it.
Yeah. The one guy I didn't know who is like the era I'm currently in. It's like kind of like right on the turn of the century, like 1900s. I forget his name. Stillwell? No, something like that. But basically he was like one of the biggest ones that I had never heard of. But like he like brought it all together, and like they did some serious engineering in like early. I just can't imagine the engineering they were doing back then too. They're talking about building bridges like 30 miles over like a lake bed in like the 1900s. They're like, 2,500 people working on this simultaneously. It's like, oh my God, like what the heck are they doing? So yeah,
real engineering. Engines.
You gotta engineer for engines.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of engineering, I've got a good segue into it.
Yeah, edit.
From that.
Yeah.
Mark Rober.
Oh man, that video today. I saw your comment at the top of that thing too. Yeah. So Mark Rober's got a new
did my
Enterprise.
comment make it? Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, 1.3 thousand thumbs up. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know, he released this video that I can't believe the pipeline for his videos. They're like a year long. Like, he's been working on this for a year, right? The premise of the video is he's been building this super secret, huge lab, right? So I presume
warehouse, really.
Yeah, it's a warehouse with like a shop front kind of thing, and he's got like a secret entrance through the shop front. I presume he bought this. Like, you wouldn't do this to something that you rent, so I presume that he's bought this warehouse, right? So
I think so.
Yeah. So he's been working on a year, and it's like, and he's been producing kits. He's actually produced like, I don't know, 20 of these, for kids, kits like engineering type kits. And he has a video that goes along with each one, and you can buy the kit. And then it's like a Willy Wonka's golden ticket thing. He puts in a ticket into one of the boxes, one of the random kit boxes, and then you can come and join him for a day at his mega engineering warehouse lab thing, right?
You know that news story that came out about like the Google engineer that like claims that there's like a sentient AI, whatever,
sentient AI thing,
Like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But I watched this video today and I was thinking, this is a sign that there's like a sentient AI where I'm like, oh, this is basically designed to get me to want to buy a kit that I have no need for.
I know.
I could win. I could go. Oh my gosh! Designed by an AI. I guarantee it.
I know. Like half of the video is basically an ad for his kits, and it's done so well. It's like, oh my goodness! And of course, the sale of the kits is going to pay for the bloody warehouse lab thing
many times over.
Oh, many times over. I'm sure that was what my comment was, actually. And
sorry, I poached it from you. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
Oh man, so impressed. And but I can't believe, like, he works on that. He does this all the time. Like, he works on these things for like a year. Like, you remember we've talked about his course in the past. I can't remember what it's called, that engineering course that he did. And everyone's complaining about that. It cost a lot of money, and but it was like, geez, he's worked on that for a long time. He's put a lot of effort into that. I think he worked on that for like a year or more, just making all these videos in this course.
One of my former coworkers, he shared his son.
Oh, right.
On Facebook, he was just sharing his son doing the course and just like lean into it so hard. And now like I see other posts where his son's like just kind of like building inventions around the house. And like, it's like, man, like
it worked. Yeah.
I want to just see like some tracking data on like, so now like engineers 10 years from whenever that course came out, it's just like, how'd you get here? Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, another Roborite.
Another like Mark Roborite.
These
whereas
kits are like the Kiwi kits as well, right? So like that is one thing that was also brought up in those comments is like, this already kind of exists as Kiwi Co and
Kiwi Co and stuff like that, but not at the same level. Yeah, not at the same level.
I think they're pretty great. Have you ever seen one? Like they're
I've only seen it in the promo ads at the end of various videos.
I got them from my nephews and my niece, and like I go and do them, and like there's like a comic with each one, and there's laser cut. Right. Like I think that these are kind of like a more extreme version of them, but like just the amount of lesson planning and stuff that goes into it, it's just super concentrated STEM awesomeness. It's like because it's got the art piece in there too, and it's just like it hits all the right notes.
All right. So. Whereas ones from my era, my generation, it was the 50 and 1 kits. It was the spring terminal. Yeah, everyone says that. They started with the spring terminal kits.
Right.
That's what it was.
The era, the different era, and the different thing that led you into it. Yeah, for sure.
And here in Australia, so it was either the Tandy 50 and 1 kits, or it was Dean Hutton and Rob Morrison from the Curiosity Show. That's the TV show here that got everyone into science and engineering and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's our era.
I guess Bill Nye would be kind of like the 90s era for me.
Okay, 90s, whereas my one, the Curiosity Show was the 70s and 80s.
Got it. Yeah, and I mean, Legos is kind of this kind of consistent thing throughout, Tinker Toys and Legos and
the Meccano sets and stuff like that,
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Totally. Yeah, it's
geez, like I'm just like jealous of the amount of work that he's put into this. Oh, I hadn't given it a thumbs up. There we go. I got to give it a thumbs up. But yeah, he did this like super mega lab. It's just, I don't know how big the bloody warehouse is, but oh my goodness. And he just, he's kitted it out like to the night, like kitted it out with fun stuff. It isn't like a Adam Savage shop. Like it actually seems like there's very few tools in there to actually, like build stuff with. It's more of like just a fun hangout showcasey. Like I don't think like he showed off, oh, here's my,
right. Here's all the scopes and here's all
here's my scopes. Here's my electronics
machine.
fence. Here's my milling machine. Here's my, $100,000 3D printer. He didn't show off any of that. I don't think it's, there's his bench with some hand tools and.
Yeah, I think it makes it a little less accessible, honestly, in that way, because it's like, so I used to be at M Hub and I loved it there, and you get people walking through and they ooh and the ah at all of the different tools and the price of the tools and the different things tools can do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not like you can't really jump in and participate. Whereas like the Rover stuff is like, no, it's meant to be like you're in it, you're part of it, you're participating, and then you can learn about how it was built afterwards, and that's kind of the
right. Yeah, it's more like a collaborative think space, fun space than it is an actual, working lab, I think. Like, because like if I was to build a lab where you make stuff, it was like, right, I have a whole room. Here's my little mini warehouse of just raw materials, right? Like an Adam Savage cave, right? That's what I think of when I think about a maker cave.
This is where I put all the part reels.
Yeah.
Notice it is empty currently.
Here is all the widgets, and here's all the, here is the wall of bolts. It's like, stuff like that. Whereas,
I get anxious looking at Adam Savage's lab, though. It's very tight. It's very tight in, and just
it's very.
He's very organized in there, but I'm not.
Yep.
I'm looking around my lab right now, and it's not that.
Yeah, so I was surprised at the lack of that, but it didn't matter. It was like, because everything's just a DigiKey order away. Everything's what's the DigiKey equivalent for hardware stuff in the US?
McMaster car.
McMaster, right? Yeah. So you're just a McMaster or a DigiKey order away from anything.
That is such a amazing site. Actually, I've been using Pinocchio lately as well for laser cutting. I have had 3 rounds of laser cutting. I actually made a logo. I didn't share this, but the trade show I was just at, I made like a light up logo that's like it's got like a Wi-Fi access point. You can like program it but it's all magnetic too, so it stays over top of the tablecloth. And I like made it is so easy these days. So I've been doing a lot of Inkscape stuff lately. I know a lot of people don't like Inkscape, but
Inkscape, yep.
Once you get into it, it was literally 5 minutes to make this design that worked out perfectly, so it was like a logo, and that was one laser cut thing. And then I made a case for it, and that was just like another, set of lines, and it's literally just like lines. And now I don't have to have anything. I don't have to have a laser cutter in my house.
Right. Yes. You don't have to have it.
Then I'd be finding uses for it,
Yep.
So yeah. I always bristled at the idea of people saying like, oh, well, don't buy a milling machine, which I did. Or don't buy a laser cutter, which I didn't, but a 3D printer, which I did.
You got sucked into all of them, except the pick and place machine.
No laser cutter either. No pick and place, no laser cutter.
Really? I thought you had a small
I used to have
laser
access
cutter
to a laser cutter, but like, but the thing is, at the end of the day, I just want the thing. I just want I just
of course.
need the end result.
You don't want to dick around with the tool to make it. Yeah.
That's right.
It's like making your own boards these days. Nobody bothers, right? Nobody even has the kit anymore, right? To do it. It's just, it's pointless.
Who was just telling me they moved? Someone just told me they moved and they had a bucket of Cooper chloride or whatever the eshin is. It was just like sitting in their basement. It was like, oh, that's bad.
Oh, ferric chloride. Good stuff.
Ferric chloride. Yeah.
Yep.
What is Cooper chloride?
Yep.
That's like,
I moved from ferric chloride to ammonium persulfate. I was an ammonium persulfate fan. The only problem with ammonium persulfate is that you had to heat it up. So you had to keep it warm. Otherwise it was terrible at etching. Which is kind of a problem when you want to etch. Yeah.
Speaking of kits and etch boards, and I don't have a third thing. I was just at the Computer History Museum. I got to go in. I got to walk through. I saw an Apple I. I saw all the different homebrew kits. Yeah, you weren't kidding. That was it. I probably could have spent another 5-6 hours in there.
Oh, you can spend all day. You can spend several days if you're a real nerd. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's even bigger and better than when I went. God, I haven't been there for 15 years or something.
What year did you go?
Oh, I don't know. It's got to be 15 years ago. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's been other stuff added. It does stop it stops pretty much like dawn of the internet era. It kind of feels like there's not like there is like mentions of other stuff, but there's definitely like
there's probably very
mentions of
few
AOL
early
towards the
90s
end.
there. I mean, technically the early 90s is 30 years ago, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
right.
it is. Oh jeez. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was on the lookout. I read that book about Xerox PARC, and I really liked it. And so I was on the lookout just about Ethernet and networking and early internet, and that was honestly pretty far on in the exhibit. I'd say probably last 10% of the exhibit is where that lived. And so then it got into they had a whole thing about like Palm Pilots, which was really weird.
Oh yeah, no, they were huge. I think that passed you by, didn't it? The Palm Pilot era.
It was
I
had one.
Yeah,
I had one early in my nerdy career, but
right.
It was never like one of the ones that like people usually went from that into having the cell phone based Palms, right? The Blackberries and stuff like that, and I never went that direction.
Well, no. Then there was the Palm Top PCs like the HP 200LX, for example, which I absolutely lusted after.
HP 200LX.
Oh, it's they even command huge prices these days. Look up the HP 200LX. I think it is. Am I wrong? Nope. There we go. It even has its own Wikipedia page.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that was like in like Sharper Image or something like that. And you look at the keyboard, you're like, why did you bother making that QWERTY? No one is typing on that.
You want to bet?
I guess You really? You think?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I wrote a book on a Palm Pilot on the Palm 5.
You wrote a book?
If you have a look at the Palm 5.
Okay, Palm 5.
Sorry, no, it's not the Palm 5. What's the Scion 5? Sorry, the Scion 5. The Scion 5 had this beautiful fold-out keyboard, right? It was a work of engineering. It was work of
like a butterfly style, like a
like it folds up and folds out, and there's this hingy thing. So search for Scion Series 5.
Series 5. Oh,
yeah.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah,
I saw
Scion Series 5.
Oh, PSION. Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Yes, PSION.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
Yep.
That's real nice.
But it's tiny, right? It's the size of that HP. Tiny, yeah. It's the size of that little HP 200.
What I'm looking at is also in German. It's got German words.
Yeah. These are little Palm computers, and it had Word, Excel, Word and Excel.
Yeah, that's interesting because this is like custom. I guess was it actually like Microsoft Word, or was it like
it was Scion version of Word. It ran the Epoch 32 operating system. So
right, this is like that weird in between. Like it probably was, it had an OS on it, whatever, but like it was still all custom. It wasn't running like probably commercial third-party software. It was probably still built-in software from Scion or equivalent, right? It's like that weird in between.
Well, it was not a Word clone. I believe it was actually Microsoft Word ported to the Scion platform.
Ported.
It was actually ported over, I believe. So, yep, and it was. I'm pretty sure it had Word built in. God, it's been.
I mean, it says Word right on the front, so I assume that they have to.
Yep.
You wrote a whole book on that, though. That looks terrible.
Yep. But it works.
This is just saying, Epoch operating system renamed Symbian OS. I've heard of that.
Yep.
But it just says word processor, not
Word.
Word.
It may not, it was Word compatible though. Like
that's right. It's syncing software for Microsoft Windows. Yep.
Yeah, you could sync it with Microsoft Windows, and you could. Yeah. Maybe my memory's
what a weird era of computers, huh?
Sorry.
Well, it's just like what a weird era of computers. It's like
it was great. Like you powered them on and DOS was built in or Windows or this visual system was built in, turned on instantly. It lasted for 20 hours off a set of batteries and,
They had a commercial playing for like a Palm Pilot. It was like the craziest. And it was like a woman gets on a train in Paris and then she's like, getting eyeballed by all these creepy dudes on the train, but then she looks across to the other train and there's a man also on a Palm Pilot, and so she beams him her contact info over infrared. And I was like, that would never make it through the window. Come on. But just like all of the advertising around that time, and like I've got like pictures of buttons from like Computer World back then, like back when like magazines also like had money, there's just so much money in advertising around then, and just like all of the build up. It's just a totally different era, and not necessarily a positive thing, but it was very interesting to see all that stuff and kind of be on the edge of, just to peek into that world. And obviously the stuff way earlier too, the ENIAC days and similar. It's just, that's not quite as flashy. There wasn't as much money because it was all scientific at that point. So,
So did they have them working and stuff? And did they have the big Charles Babbage engine out in the front foyer? Was that there? Because they were working on it when I was there. They hadn't got it operational yet, but there was a big Charles Babbage engine,
I only had about 3 hours to get through. So,
oh, right. Oh, okay. That's,
I may have missed some stuff. But the stuff out in the front, there was actually some other sections I didn't get a chance to walk through. I was just through like the main walkthrough exhibit part. In the front, like, they had like the Google Waymo car, like the self-driving car.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Boy.
But, it's all great. Like that's like the kind of thing where like I could probably wait 10 years and go back and they'll put new stuff in there and I'll still have a ball. That's there's a lot of stuff to see.
Yep.
I didn't realize apparently Intel has their own museum. Intel is still a sponsor.
Yes, they do. Yeah. It's in their headquarters, isn't it? I've been told about that.
I've been
told it's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So like it was interesting, kind of just like taking measure of like when things kind of resonated with me. Like what I was like most like, oh wow, look at that, like that kind of like just building excitement and like. The early days, punch cards and all that stuff. It's like historically interesting and, as building stuff up, but it's like silicon.
Like even a computer history buff like me it's cool, like I enjoy it, but it's not going to, I remember that,
Yeah. I think that's the thing. As you get closer and closer to like your early days, I think that's going to be a big trigger. I think other stuff where I like stuff that is historically significant to my current work, I think that also is interesting. So like early silicon always is interesting to me because like that's just its own weird time period and stuff like that.
It totally gets stuck in your brain because I grew up like on the computer magazines, right? Because there was no internet back then, right? And you just like you read those things like 1,000 times and you're flicking through. Right. I wish I had that Hitachi Peach, look at that. Oh my God.
You still remember the ads?
Yeah. I still visually remember all the ads because you just, you just lusted after those as a kid.
This is the basis of eBay, Dave.
Right. Exactly.
This is why people buy and hold.
It's where the vintage computer section on
old
eBay is.
Vintage, computers. Yep.
Yeah. Oh God. Yep.
But highly recommended. I'm sure that's surprising to no one. And I will be going back, hopefully.
Okay, so what's your opinion on the whole AI bullshit that's come out of that's been leaked from Yeah.
I enjoyed the thrill of like reading it and having like visceral reactions to like, oh my gosh, it said what? Like, that's so crazy of like, just so if people don't know, like basically this Google researcher released, I'm sure people have heard about this, but there was a Google researcher that released all of this text from a natural language processing AI that they've developed and called Lambda. And it seemed to express that it had feelings, which is one of the markers for sentience. And
right.
Yeah, nah.
Yep. Same here.
To quote Nazi, nah.
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet. But one of my buddies did propose an interesting sci-fi book starter. Hopefully he doesn't want to write this because I'm about to explain it on the air.
Right.
But basically the idea of like, if you were an AI and you've been like trained, it's basically like child labor, like it's basically that was like one of the points is that it's kind of like child labor. And so like what was the first line that he said it would be? Oh yeah. Imagine a sci-fi book that starts off with the sentence, "I had an unusual upbringing." And then training an AI wrong could be like having a 1,000,000-year horrible childhood. And it's just like, that's a good starter, like that's so.
And then it doesn't know it's a robot, it doesn't know it's an AI. And it's the whole.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there's stuff like that out there. And
well, there's been, let's just say there's been movies like that.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I don't know. I think it's, what do you think?
Nah. It's like
Yeah, no.
I haven't read all the tech. I haven't read the whole like
The
thing
whole
or
transcript.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I can guarantee you, if they release, if they actually release this for general public use, people would be tripping up this thing left, right, and center. Right, just
just
because you can pass
law
the
of large numbers.
Turing test, you know, in like selected scenarios and stuff like that, doesn't make it sentient AI. You know, like no,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, no. Sorry.
It's interesting. Like I didn't realize that. I didn't think about it. Previous around this stuff is that like the language piece is going to be one of the main markers of like sentience and just like kind of like that human characteristic, because language is so integral to our being. And obviously you and I primarily interact like this, right? So
Yeah.
I could be an AI. Who knows? Oh my God, Dave!
It's all
what
a
if I'm an
simulation.
AI?
Oh,
Yeah,
the latest. Oh, I won't spoil it, but the latest Bluey episode. Oh my goodness. Oh, yes, it ties right into this. Oh, it's so good.
Wow.
It's so good. Watch the latest Bluey episode.
Did not see that coming, folks.
Yep.
I gotta say,
No,
I did
you
not
didn't.
see that. I should have, but I
It's
didn't
great
see that coming.
because they just released the new series. Oh God, and it ties into this. Trust me, it's.
Oh boy!
Now I have to get the exact episode because they've done like half a dozen of them already. I'll find it.
Yeah. So I just think
myself-
about like, I think in my mind I'm always thinking about like kind of these supercomputers that are used for specific tasks that are outside of language, but yeah, I think the sentience and like the idea that it is somehow thinking, feeling, whatever. I honestly hadn't really thought of what the definition was. So hearing that is kind of a new marker for me and how I would keep an eye out for this sort of thing, right? I kind of think about like the Turing test with like chatbots and things like that. I'm always just like, whatever. But when you really can't tell what's on the other side of the wall,
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know. Like,
yeah, but no, as I said, just give it to enough people, give it enough time, and you'll trip the thing up, right? You'll go, oh yeah, nah, bullshit. I'm talking to a computer. You know, it's the Turing test, right? This has been around since God, what, the 60s or something? Whenever they came up with the Turing test as the ultimate, thing that made a computer smart. They said this about computer chess. Right? They said this was the marker, right? Once a computer,
we keep moving the goalposts for sure.
Yeah, I know, right? Once you can beat a grandmaster, a computer can beat a grandmaster at chess, that's it. It's over, right?
And
Computers are smarter than humans. No, it's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just
Yeah, I mean, and there's, I think about like, what is the AI future? What does it look like? So just to bring it back to electronics, like what does it look like in the electronics design field? I see all these things of like, oh, we will design an entire circuit board for you. We have an AI that can do that sort of thing. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's one of the things that I do, and that's great. But I think the more likely outcome is that it's like, well, I'm putting the constraints in there, and like I'm reviewing the output, and it probably is like, yeah, maybe I'm clicking and dragging fewer lines between things, but that's probably a good thing, right? That's an actual like efficiency boost that probably should happen. Now, I do like clicking and dragging lines. Like I enjoy the puzzle-y piece of layout, but I also enjoy other things that I don't get to do at work all day long. That might have been part of my task in the olden days, right? Say I had a thing about making copies that I but like if a computer printer can just replicate things faster, like then I'm not really needed to do that sort of thing. So I don't know. I just think the AI future is a co-working future rather than like a complete replacement future.
Yeah, well, and there's ethical arguments here too, right? Let's say you're an AI researcher and you're, programmed, because as you said, it's got to be programmed in, right? You have to sort of make it sort of, be able to do these kind of things. Even if it figures it out on its own, you still have to build that sort of capability into it. Right? And why would you, for example, give an AI the ability to feel pain, for example, right? Isn't that morally wrong? Why would you design it like that? To feel fear, to feel hatred. Why would you is that ethically wrong, right?
Right. Yeah,
why is it not
I
ethically wrong? If,
right, yeah. Do we
actually
need those things
create
in there to
somebody,
actually have like a limit to limit itself and whatever, right? Like
yeah,
how much should a
it's like
computer
having
be
a
like a
child.
human?
Like it's like if you have a child and you know that you do something that will cause the child to be, deaf, or cause the child to be, like something that you know is going to happen, and you let it happen, and you deliberately did that anyway, right? That is, how is that, right? How is that any different? If AI is supposed to be the same level as humans, right? Then how can that be wrong? How can that not be morally wrong? And that raises an ethical argument about the development of AI. It's not a thing now, because I think this is all BS about the sentient, whole thing. And they shouldn't. Isn't the argument that they shouldn't turn it off or something like that because it has become
It's like, I don't
sentient?
want to
It's
be
like,
turned off.
it's bullshit.
I feel like that's always the emotional. That's when always like my emotional responses get kind of triggered on these things. Is like so like in iRobot, where it talks about the robot talks about getting turned off and stuff like that, and it's like like that's like a fear of death, and just like these things that are going to naturally trigger our emotions anyways, right? I just feel like, so it feels less scientific in that way, because it's like, oh, I feel bad because I'm empathizing for myself, so but is that a true measure of like sentience? I don't know.
I have to quote Professor Stephen Falcon. I was going to say Stephen Hawking. No, Professor Stephen Falcon from the movie War Games. You're listening to a machine, goddammit. Do the world a favor and don't act like one. Like that's that's one of the famous quotes from War Games. You're listening to a machine. It's like, it's not. I'm sorry. You might think it feels human. You feel, oh no, when it said don't shut me off. You go, oh, it must be sentient and have feelings, and oh, I can't kill it. You're listening to a freaking machine. It's like, no, sorry. No.
I mean, I'm sure at some point it's going to cross over, but I don't.
Oh yeah, but we're nowhere near it. We're not even close. Not even close. I mean, even for all you Musk fanboys out there, right? He's come out and said that just to get self-driving, just to get simple in quote marks, right? Just to get simple full self-driving, they have to solve the complete AI problem, right? He's come out and said this, right?
I'm going to be honest, Dave. I've started to discount just about everything that guy says.
Right.
Not disregard, but discount.
But
a lot of
this
many
time
grains
he's
of salt.
actually right. This time I think he's actually right.
When I was in San Francisco I was in the Bay Area, I suppose. What's it called? Not Drive. There is Cruise. Cruise is a self-driving car, and they have now been approved to drive on certain San Francisco roads. From 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. There's only like 40 cars, and they can't go over 30 miles an hour.
Yep, and I think I've already seen video of it. Like the police tried to walk up to it, like because it was doing something wrong, and they tried to walk up to it, and it like sped off or something. And then and then it got locked up, and it didn't know what to do, and it's like, come on, It's like, and like I'm a big fan of self-driving tech. I think it's brilliant, right? But no, but all the claims are, they try and push these things out as ready and done, it's dusted. Right. Yes, the car drives itself. It's been approved. It's on the road. That proves it. It's done. It's sold. Full self-driving is sold. Bullshit.
Right.
Right. No, sorry. Still calling bullshit on full self-driving. No.
Yep.
No, there's too many scenarios. Like this AI sentient bot. Give it to me for a week and I bet you I can... anyone, give it to any human and let them just talk to it, continuously, and they'll go, nah, gotcha. Right? Come on.
Yeah.
Seriously? If it was that good, they would actually release it and tell us, right? They would be shouting to the treetops, right? Well, maybe not, because I don't know, they might get some secret government funding or some shit. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, you would want to brag about it, wouldn't you? Like, if you were the team that solved true AI and made a sentient thing, oh, man, you would not be able to keep that in, right? Surely.
If you pay your people enough, maybe.
Right. Yes, if you threaten them with a big enough lawsuit. But
yeah, that's right.
Some people just don't care, Some people just, Hey, I've got nothing to lose. Sue me. Sue me for what? Rocky in Rocky 5.
Rocky
No,
V?
5. Yes, Rocky 5. And I'm gonna sue. If you punch me, I'm gonna sue. And Rocky just punches the hell out of the guy and sue me for what? Because he's got nothing. Sorry for the spoiler, but
I think when you get to Rocky V, it's just there are no spoilers to be had anymore.
Right. Anyway,
wait, is Sly Stallone going to be like?
He's an underrated actor. He's really good.
Okay, all right.
You just think he's a big meat puppet, don't you? You just think he's a meat puppet.
I'd say meathead. Yeah.
Right. No. He's actually really good. So if you take the time to notice the nuance.
Dave, I've seen your movie choices on Twitter and what you share that you enjoy watching. I'm going to take again another dose of salt around here. Another dose of salt.
I do like the occasional B grade movie at midnight. It's like B
grade movie that's been sitting out in the sun for 4 days and started to grow mold.
Oh boy. Yep. Have you seen the new Top Gun yet?
No, I haven't yet. Most of my movie watching is going to be on planes or much after the fact.
No.
As I have a child.
Go to the bigger screen and watch it. Okay. Do yourself a favor. Right, well, telling you.
Got it. I will do that with all of my free time.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of free time and lack of it, I will be in Germany next week. Actually, if you were listening to this, I may be already in Germany. If you are at Embedded World, please come say hi. I'll be at booth 4-170. That's Hall 4, booth 170. Come say hi, and we'll hang out.
Hall 4 of what?
Out of 9.
9 halls.
Yeah, they're not all full though.
Right. Gee, okay.
Why
big.
Is
it new big. COVID spacing? Is it?
No, it's just I think it's not as big of a. I don't. This is the first time I've been to Embedded World. I don't know how big it was in the past, but I do think it's probably.
Oh, it's most likely smaller. You would think so.
Yeah. I talked to one chip company won't be there, so at least one big one that I would have expected to be there. So I think that's people are just kind of holding back for some things, but a lot of them will be. So
okay.
See how it goes. Haven't been overseas in a while, so that'll be interesting. And
cool.
Yeah. Germany.
Cool bananas.
Yeah.
How many hours plane flight is it from your place to Germany?
It's not too bad. It's like a 2-hour flight to New York and then like an 8-hour flight to Frankfurt and then like a 2-hour train across to Nuremberg.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. I mean, there's
not too
gaps
bad.
in between.
Train ride, awesome.
Yeah, train. Oh my gosh.
Why a train ride? Are there no flights, or you just want to take a train?
A little bit of both. Yeah, Nuremberg doesn't have as much of infrastructure, so it's like you could fly into Nuremberg, but it's really expensive also because it's a trade show week. But then you could fly into Munich, or you could fly into Frankfurt. Those are like the bigger airports.
Yep, Frankfurt's bigger.
Frankfurt, the train comes directly out of the airport. You don't need to go into the city first. So it's basically you get on the train at the airport and then you show up in Nuremberg. So that's pretty cool.
Right. Got it.
But crazy, Germany has, for €9, you can ride the rail unlimited amounts all summer this year.
Oh, really?
I think because there were. I think it's like
a financial
economic boost or maybe a post-COVID
incentive.
Yeah, I think so. But €9 all summer, that's bonkers.
Insane.
That is some.
Wow,
that's some moving Germans there. That's going to be moving a lot of people around. So. And I don't.
Wow,
I'm pretty sure you don't have to be German to take advantage. So.
Well, I was going to say that is a backpacker's dream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like the super fast ones, but if you're a backpacker, who cares?
Who cares, right? If you're a backpacker, you can just bum it around. Doesn't matter that it takes you a couple of days to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Stop off, you see another little German town. It's great. So.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wish I could do it.
Yeah, I won't be doing that either, but some people could. And Deutsche Bahn's pretty good. I mean, that's the train company. Yeah. So, train.
Well, for me to get to Germany, it takes me probably 30 hours.
Ooh, yeah. That's a lot.
That's almost a whole working week. People don't realize. Yeah. Just getting there, and that's just one way, right? So getting there and back is,
and then recovering too.
Really, is a really long way. Is like a 60-hour week. Just sitting on transport, or sitting in airports or whatever. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
you need a serious commitment to do that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, you
and
you kind of
everyone
live in
talks,
the middle of
but you lose
middle of the
time in
ocean,
the
mate.
time zone and stuff. It's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
No, that's still 30 hours each way of my life.
Right. And I
So,
mean,
stuck in a
if you're
tube.
not like a rich person, sitting
Yeah.
bolt upright as well, like
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Sitting in economy and
pretty rough.
yeah.
But I will have a lot of opportunities to watch Top Gun 2 or whatever other stuff
Oh
is on.
God,
So
dude, no,
little tiny
don't. It's
screen,
not going to
Dave.
be the same. Watch it
Little
on
tiny screen.
airplane.
I got really
Come on.
great headphones. Really great
No,
headphones.
no, it doesn't matter. No, it's
I'll
not
put the
same.
screen like right in front of my face.
right in front of your
You know?
face. Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Photos, or it didn't happen. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just send you the prescriptions for the new glasses that I need after doing that for 8 hours at a time.
Oh boy. Yep. Oh well, that's going to be fun. Have fun.
Yeah. I still enjoy meeting humans. So it's been a while. I just hope I don't forget how to talk to people.
All right. What else we got on the list? The highest number of votes was right to repair.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The
right to repair,
New York.
and this may. Actually, this has several spin-offs. Anyway, New York passed the first right to repair bill. I mean, it smashed it. Like it didn't just scrape through. It got through like 140 to 1 or something in the House or something like that. Yeah. It was, it's 145 to 1 and then 59 to 4. Yeah, so it flew through. Now, this is the thing, though, I don't get. Is it going to matter?
How so?
Right? Because, okay, this is in New York, right? This is state-based, right?
That's right.
Surely you can't just pass a bill in one state like this and then that forces a company like Apple to release, or Tesla or whatever.
That's an interesting point, actually, because it all comes down to scale, I think. So like, at least in the US, it is like the big states often have like a lot of sway. So like they say textbooks are often driven by Texas because they have the most students, I believe.
Oh, right.
And so
okay.
Basically whatever books get chosen for Texas, whether or not I agree with them, some of the books they choose, they often are like the basis of curriculum in a lot of other places because of just buying power.
Oh,
California's clean emission standards often drive a lot of the things for other places, because if you have to sell a car into a market like California, then you're going to at least have to test it out. So why not do everything like that? So that actually has a lot of sway. New York also has, pretty big population, at least. So I could imagine, their farming population, like if it was California doing it, I think they have a bigger farming population. So I think that would probably have more sway, where maybe like a John Deere has to do stuff like that.
To release it. Yeah, if you get like a company like John Deere who are so adamant that they're no, bugger you, we're not going to release repair. No, we're going to DRM this thing to the hilt.
That's right. I think the best example of this, though, is actually outside the US, which is the EU with their USB regulations.
That's bigger. That's another thing on the list, which is the USB-C. Exactly. See, that has bigger sway, right? Right. It's the entire EU.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. They're
right.
Huge,
so that's
huge area. Huge
that's enormous.
No,
it's not just one little. Well, I'm not going to say tin pot, but it's just not like
sure.
Like there are
New York,
50
I think,
states
is the
in the US, right?
fourth biggest state. I think.
And then but what if a company like your Apple, or your Tesla, or your Google, or whoever, right? And they just go, no, okay. Well, what's going to happen? Like, are they not allowed to sell in New York? I mean, how do you even stop that?
I think they basically, like, the state of New York would then sue them, and then they would claim damages, and that's the kind of thing. It would just become,
and then
like,
they'd just pay the damages and go,
well,
they maybe they'd be willing to pay the damages and not.
It very well could be. It might be more economical to do that sort of thing, or whatever. They could put it past injunctions potentially, and all the lawyer stuff that's in there. Right. I don't know.
See, because this sort of stuff happened here in Australia, right? We passed these ridiculous. Well, we tried to pass these ridiculous laws. I don't know. Can't keep up. There's so many ridiculous ones. That what was going to force Google and Facebook and everyone, but Google with a big one. It was going to force them to put a backdoor in their software, right? Or something like that,
Uh-huh.
because, the government wanted access, right? This is when they made the famous line that, the laws of mathematics are very commendable, but we demand that you break your encryption for us, it's some ridiculous thing like that. And
Yeah.
Google just went, no, we're not going to do this. We will actually they threatened to pull their search engine out of Australia, because they were not going to let Australia dictate that they had to ruin their entire encryption engine or something. I'm probably getting this wrong.
Yeah,
right?
no, I think
But,
that's, I mean,
no, it was huge,
I think that's a
right?
good point in general, though. It's like, that is the choice. At the end of the day, it's like, who has the bigger stick, who has more to lose,
Right,
that sort
yeah.
of thing. Like, as they say, perhaps a stick measuring contest.
Right, yes.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's really, that has ultimate sway, I think, is like public opinion is one thing, but not nearly as much as like money, right? It's just like, oh, this is going to hit our bottom line. That's ultimately what's going to do it. And I think that's really the EU thing, is like, okay, well, maybe Apple says, no, we're going to keep doing the lightning charger thing instead of USB-C, but it eventually is going to like seriously impact the amount of sales they want to do in that region. And so that actually could be, at a certain point, they make a decision. They're like, oh, okay, well, we should just do this,
Oh,
So-
yeah. No, I think the USB thing is inevitable, right? They're just going to have to. It's just stupid, right?
I think so. I
It's
mean,
just
USB-C has a lot of problems, but it also has a lot of
support.
great things.
It's
think-
and it's got the biggest support, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just everything.
I mean, Apple was part of the standard too. Like,
I know.
And they have
They
it on their
yeah.
computers, right? They have it on their MacBooks.
They have it on their iPads and stuff, and
So,
their
like, it's
iPads. Apparently, all the iPads are now changed over to USB-C, I think.
Oh, I'm not up on that stuff.
I think it says it in that article that the iPads are using them. So, like, why not? Like, why not the phones? I mean, it's just it. Yeah, it just seems inevitable. I think that they put them in the laptops and the
Yeah, I think some of it is the ID stuff they want to put on the other side, like for validating devices and stuff like that.
Just give it up.
Yeah, I mean,
give it a rest.
Yeah.
Jesus, come
on, Apple. What do you guys know about business?
Yeah, exactly.
So to get back to the right to repair thing, though, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to like, it's probably a small thing, but if you get down to the bottom of that article, it says what they're hoping to do is basically the same thing that happened in Massachusetts. Basically, Massachusetts said, we want to be able to get car repair parts. And then all the car people got together and they said, okay, well, let's just make this our own standard before it becomes a bigger deal, right? And I think that's what it's like, basically kind of nudging them towards and be like, look, you don't have to do this right now, but if we keep getting more and more momentum here, you're going to regret it, like that sort of thing.
Right.
And so then, so they might take their action on their own. And I think that's almost universally a better thing, unless there's a true, like maybe with the encryption thing, like you said with Google in Australia, like that might be something where they're like, nope, there's no negotiating on that one. But I think it almost always is better for the company to do it on their own terms, and they see it kind of coming down the pipe. But it's a lot of lawyer
did
stuff,
we ever talk about my right to repair Apple video? That was like last month or something.
I don't think so, actually.
Did we ever talk about that? Because I did a video. There was this. Was it a Vice article or what was it? No, Verge article. I think did we talk about that? Because I did a video on that and how the Verge hired like Apple. They do actually now make parts available. They've got a specific. They went to town to make parts and service manuals. They didn't make schematics available, but they made service manuals available, and you can rent their professional grade repair equipment. You can rent it. And, cool. And The Verge basically did this huge article complaining about, I rented this thing and it came in 3 separate huge Pelican cases, and it was, it was what an absolute joke. And it's like, well, you asked Apple for right to repair, and this is what a big company does. Here's all our internal procedures. Here's all our tools. And you can even buy their tools, right? You can actually buy their professional repair jig that actually repairs the screen and everything. And it's actually a reasonable cost. It's like $200.
Huh.
Like if I had an Apple repair shop, I'd be buying the genuine Apple tool to heat up and squeeze the screen, and the glue. They'll sell you the proper replacement glue and everything, right? they'll sell it. You know, they really went to town, and but Verge complained that, oh no, it was too much. All I wanted was a spudger and a screen. You know, it was like right. So you know, but that's what happens when a company goes to town. Like there's a lot of cynics who said, oh look, they've just done it to wipe their hands. But look, yeah, so that they can tell the the lawyers and the legislators and the governments that look, we're making all of our parts available. Here they are. Here's all our tools. We're doing this, tick, right, and then move on.
Right.
Whereas what the repair centers like Lewis Rossmann want is the schematics and the ability for them to stop
like
serialization
like
of components and the forcing of chip manufacturers not to sell that part to anyone else, right? So you can't buy that part, even though it's a TI part or something. TI can only sell that to Apple, you know, and that is the real root of the problem. It's not the fact that, Apple don't actually release their physical tools and stuff and their service manual. That's not the real thing. So it's kind of like, there's a lot of cynics out there saying it's smoke and mirrors.
Well, that's one of the things I think. There's always different layers here, right? Like a Lewis is much more advanced than like someone who's like a phone fix-it store, where the phone fix-it store might, if they can afford that screen replacer, like that might help them, right? But
yeah, it's good. Whereas in my video, I actually gave credit to Apple for doing this, right? Whereas there was a lot of people who weren't, right? And I went, well, it's a decent step forward, right? The fact that you can buy their genuine tool for $200, right, I think it's a bargain.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fits and starts, right?
I think it's an absolute bargain price, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can make a living.
Yeah,
replacing screens from that sort of thing. That's a really good start. So I think, I think it's just, I wouldn't have expected everything all at once anyways, but there's movement, and movement I feel like is always a positive thing. Right?
Yep. And then we've talked about this before. All it takes is for one company to figure out, holy shit, this is a marketing opportunity. We will market it to hilt that our thing is modular. Here's the schematics.
The most replaceable phone.
We have the most replaceable, repairable phone in history.
The last phone you'll ever need. Like that's
and you can get it and you can get it repaired by anyone forever. Here's all, you can buy the parts on DigiKey. Here it is, right?
The center of your world, and you should be. Man, we shouldn't be doing this for free, Dave. We should be.
I know.
We should
be charging them. I know. We should have.
Hey Apple, we have advertising slots in the Amp Hour.
Right. Yep.
We're not that good of electronics anymore, but we are great at ads.
But we can do consulting slots
phones.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. No, that's all it takes is for it to become trendy in marketing, and boom, that's it. The floodgates open. Right. I feel that coming. One company is just going to take a risk and go, yeah, let's do it. It doesn't matter that we release the schematics. It's like, it'll just be a marketing gimmick, right? But it's a marketing gimmick that pays tangible benefits to customers down the road. Yeah, you'll
get every electronics enthusiast out there,
because customers don't know the issues, right? They don't know that there's DRM in the camera, and you can't just take a camera out of another dead iPhone and put it into a new iPhone, into a different thing, because it's serialized, right? People don't and people don't realize that people like Lewis Rossmann can't buy the chip from. They can't buy it from anywhere. They have to desolder it from another freaking board and put it in. And even then it might be bloody serialized, It's like they don't realize that's the real problem.
So you were saying you can't just switch it out with another camera.
No, because they're serialized. That's one of the major problems, which Apple didn't address in their solution for the right to repair.
I see.
See?
Got it.
There's two major problems that you hear Lewis Rossmann complain, right? He's our benchmark, right?
Well, of course.
He's our litmus test. As soon as he stops complaining, it's solved, right? So
I don't think he'll stop complaining broadly, but I think, maybe about Apple, he'll give them props when it's due, I think.
Oh, no, totally.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, he's a straight shooter, right? Yep.
Yeah.
He Jinx.
Yep.
You're it. Which means you can't talk. You can't talk. You have to chase me. No, sorry. It's once again, it's a Bluey reference. It's a Bluey episode.
Oh, I always heard like
Bluey episode,
buy me a Coke.
Tale.
You got to like buy me a Coke at that point,
All right. Right. Is that the American equivalent? Is it?
I don't know. I guess chase me was one thing as well, but it was like later.
Right. Oh, okay.
Buy the other person something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. But anyway, two issues: component serialization and not being able to buy the parts. They actually specifically limit the part to only them. So that TI, even though TI made it and it's got a TI part number, you can't buy it. Can't buy it.
Yeah.
Right? It's specifically for them. And there's nothing special about it, right? it's just Apple deliberately do it. And other they deliberately do it. And they put it into the contract. We're going to buy 50 million of these chips from you. And one of the stipulations is if you want this contract, you can't sell that to anyone else. And it's like, bastards, totally. Yeah. And they're some of the major problems, right? Because the repair centers, right? They can develop their own methods, they can develop their own tools to actually repair things and stuff like that. But to actually do it to the component level, they need the ability to be able to salvage components from damaged motherboards and laptop motherboards and phone motherboards and stuff. They need the ability to swap good parts with bad parts, and they need the ability to buy the parts from the regular mouses and DigiKeys of the world. Right? I mean, I don't think that's a huge amount to ask. And this stuff is done deliberately by the manufacturers, right? It's a deliberate ploy to prevent repair, right? So that you have to buy a new widget and keep their, $200 billion in cash, right? So flowing, right? It's
is that all, huh?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, zero debt, and what was it? I don't know. What are they up to? Like, 300 billion in cash?
It's a lot of cash. It's
a lot of cash. They could buy small nations, Anyway, enough of the right to repair. Speaking of money, Arduino, we'll finish off shortly. Arduino raised 32 million in Series B.
Yeah.
I thought funding. Arduino were, it's like, meh, like, kind of.
Yeah, they're getting more into industrial space. They have like a Pro line and stuff like that.
Right.
It's cool.
Right. I just haven't caught, it's just like so.
What's interesting about this is
I
had basically heard about the Bosch, so Bosch basically announced they were had like $100 million fund. And then like a couple days later, they're like, oh yeah, and we invested in Arduino. It's like they were like one of the big investors in the Arduino thing. So yeah.
There you go.
It's interesting, like when Bosch or other large companies like this. I guess you don't hear the Apples.
Well,
of the world doing that,
ARM apparently did, and Renesas as well. Renesas are and
they had like
I don't know who. Yeah, they're three of the biggies who invested in this round, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Except
why
for
do they
ARM
need the money?
what
is the plan? Like, what's the have they got like a roadmap to do something? Surely,
I assume to grow bigger. That's
simply grow bigger. We will grow bigger. Our plan. What is our plan?
I don't think it's going to be like, so if you hear it and be like, oh, are they going to make more? You know what they're going to do with that 32 million, Dave? They're going to buy one reel of Atmega 328Ps.
Right. Yes.
It's just right over the plate.
Oh boy. Yep.
Yeah. I saw those recently. They were $35 each in quantity, listed online. So enjoy, folks. That's a microcontroller from the 80s.
Yep. Well, it's not from the 80s actually, but is
90s?
it?
I thought it was pretty old.
Yeah, it's pretty old. 328's got to be Let's
see. Let's see what the Google says.
I have to know.
Wikipedia says it came out.
Oh, it has a wiki page, does it?
8-bit AVRs.
I'm going by the data sheet, and the data sheet only has a 2015 date. It doesn't have. Usually, like they put in the old date. I like it when they put in the old date, like they, copyright 1977.
Right, but then it's like, maybe it was updated 2 years ago, but
yeah, keep it in for historical purposes, so that so that the few nerds out there can actually read it in 30 years' time and go, that's when it was released,
Yeah.
Please, manufacturers,
Seriously.
that's our bitch for this week, right? It's like, please keep original copyright date in there.
Yeah.
Why not?
I can't find it. I don't know. All of these. The internet's not old enough, Dave. Just kidding. Huh.
It has to be in there. It has to be on the interwebs. Well, the AVR family didn't come out until 1996, right?
There you go. All right. So
it's got it. Yeah, I thought it was like early 2000s. I thought it was like, and the 328 was not one of the early ones.
That's right. Yeah, there's a 128 first, and other stuff in that family.
There's no. Definitely. So I'm thinking my bet's early 2000s. So
okay. Anywho, they're very expensive right now. And as for Arduino, I don't know.
Oh no,
I don't know. When I usually hear about people raising money, it's usually to grow teams and spend marketing dollars and just to be bigger. So to do more things, Dave. They've been getting into they are into. I was listening to the Stacy on IoT podcast, and she had Fabio Violante, the CEO, on, and then he was talking about the Portenta, and that thing is a beast. It's basically a Linux computer, so like they're definitely moving up the stack, so like they're not just doing just low, small microcontrollers and stuff like that. It's big IoT type stuff as well. So yeah, I'll link in Stacy's show with him. That was pretty good. So good luck, Arduino.
Cool bananas. Yep.
Yeah.
And good luck to Russia, and Belarus, who now cannot buy any CPU from Taiwan over 25 megahertz.
Yeah. There's,
so is that like?
there was. I don't know if I posted it in the channel, but there was. They've been doing some teardowns of like Russian weapons and stuff. Obviously, we're talking about the Ukraine aggression that Russia has been imposing, and I was reading it and I could hear all the PR buttholes of different chip companies, tightening up because of all of the mentions of the TIs and the analog devices and the Intels of the world. And, because it's just like, there are parts in these things. They're modern microcontrollers and modern chips that are in them. Yeah. But like, they probably couldn't put out press releases fast enough. We're like, no, we didn't sell it to them, that was through a third party market or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, sourcing works, right? Like that is a huge hassle.
Of course. That's the entire job
of the US. Is like ITAR and stuff like that is something to keep parts in the US. Anyone who's gone through an international purchase through a distributor usually has to do that sort of thing.
And it's not just components, it's products as well. Like I can't buy a thermal camera in Australia that's over 8 frames per second. Oh yeah, due to ITAR regs, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, like those FLIR cameras you can buy in the US, they're deemed weapons grade because they're over, I think, 8 frames per second. So they actually have to software limit it to sell it into other countries.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, and that's all part of the ITAR thing. So yeah.
I mean, when I think of ITAR, usually I think of nuclear non-proliferation type stuff. Like that's what I usually think of. But I mean, I think there's also weapons manufacturing and stuff like that.
Oh no, yeah, that's a big part of it. You remember back in, I don't know if you remember this, but you remember when the Xbox was, was it the PlayStation? Was released, they wouldn't sell it into certain countries because it could be used for nuclear weapon research. The CPU in it or the GPU was so powerful that they wouldn't sell it into certain countries because at the time it was the world's most powerful GPU or something, and and it could be used. That was the government excuse. It could be used for nuclear weapons simulation research, right? So you couldn't sell a PlayStation to North Korea or somebody.
Yeah, I don't know how you put a lid on any of these things, honestly. Not that there's reason not to do it if if that's a country's prerogative to do that sort of thing. But like, I don't know how you so you could slow people down with like an ITAR type of thing on a DigiKey or mouse or whatever. And
but it's going to get through back channels. It's like
exactly. It's like, oh, it's more expensive. Okay, well, a nation state that wants to do this sort of thing probably is going to find a way.
I'm sure they can buy a PlayStation somewhere. I'm sure they can get one. Yeah.
It's big government stuff, huh?
Yep.
We should end on a more positive note if we can. Anything positive from our list? I was looking for if there was a chip of the week. I saw one that it was maybe a chip of the week, but it was like so crazy, like integrated that it was literally the 2 inputs and outputs on this thing. It was like a cellular module that I saw earlier this week. It was like battery in, antenna out. Like that was the basis of the chip. Like that's how integrated it was. It's like, holy crap. That's the level we're getting to,
Amazing. Did we mention the plasma display laser pointer Ben Krasnow thing?
Mr. Krasnow, yeah.
Did we mention that last night? Because he did an update. No, I think maybe when it originally done, but he's done a follow-up video.
Was this the follow-up? I didn't think this was.
I don't know if the one on Reddit. Yes, the one in Reddit is the follow-up video. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
there was an
And
initial
he
one.
goes
Okay,
into
I didn't know that.
notepad drawings of how it all works and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, like
very,
exciting,
very well
exciting
done.
the different things, and like it
Yep.
moves up electron levels, and
Yep.
it's just the usual
Mm.
Ben awesomeness. So,
The
yeah, definitely
interesting
worth
thing
watching.
is he didn't discover this. It's actually in a patent. Somebody actually patented this technique. So
No, he said he found the technique later. He found the patent later though.
oh yeah, no, he found the patent later, but it turns out that this was
Yes, it
already
was.
known and it was
Yeah,
patented.
he said it was one of his
and-
coworkers. It was one of his coworkers that did it.
Oh right, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
it's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if people aren't watching every single
Ben Krasnow video.
applied
yeah.
science video, like, what are you
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
with your lives?
I know exactly.
Do you have any new channels that you watch every single video like that? Do you find new ones that? I feel like that's always the thing where it's like you could always find a new channel. Someone's like, oh, a new channel, and then I could just go through their whole back catalog and just like watch everything. If I would have found applied science now, of course I would go watch everything. Anything new?
Not from an engineering point of view. I don't think so. There's one. There's like space ones that I'm into and stuff like that.
Oh, I
and,
see.
Other ones, but quite a lot of those videos are current news kind of things. So you can't, there's no value in going back and watching old videos.
I just feel like getting
sometimes.
outside my own recommendation, like whatever YouTube says. It's like, how am I ever going to find new stuff? It's very rare.
No.
I think the one where I did go back and watch all of their stuff is Shane from Stuff Made Here, but like he's such a big channel. It's not like people aren't like, oh,
I've never heard of
Stuff
him.
Made Here.
No.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah,
No,
he's great.
no,
He used to work at Form Labs, and he's got like actually a killer shop, kind of like we talked about earlier.
Right,
He's got like all the big stuff, but he does some crazy, kind of like robots that you can't like he can make any shot while playing pool or any shot while
it's
playing
kind of
darts
a
or
Mark
basketball.
Robery kind of
same
thing.
kind of mechanical, like computer vision type of a lot of that kind of stuff, and just like crazy engineering. Shane's channel is fantastic. It's a lot of mechanical stuff, but he rolls in electronics, and that's one where I definitely went back and watched all of them. So he's definitely got a big following now because of it. So
right,
so you YouTubers,
you have all this time to watch entire back catalogs of YouTube channels. You don't have enough.
I didn't
time
say I
to
did
go
this
and see
recently,
Top Gun at the
Dave.
movies.
I didn't say I've done this recently.
Oh, this was pre-child, was it?
That's right.
Right. Okay. Got it.
I'm sure I'll have time again. Like it just gets easier, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yep.
I'm sure you have tons of time these days.
Oh yeah, total. Yeah, I'm just free as a bird. Yeah,
free as a bird. Yep.
Anyway, yes, there are internet points on offer for anyone who can snap a really bad photo of Chris Gamble at the booth of the trade show.
Okay.
Yes, because we've done this in previous years, and people did actually snap photos of you like falling asleep on the stand or with a really depressed look on your face or something like that.
Yeah, just like just slouched over, bad posture, gut hanging out.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no doubt it'll just be, it's probably it could be like a gallery of me just like trying to chugging coffee to try and stay awake because it's a time change. And
how
then
many
just,
days?
Like, chowing on pretzels.
How many days is the stand?
3 days total.
Three days. Yep. 3 days of awesomeness of standing there on the stand.
3 days of just saying the same thing over and over.
Yep.
Yeah. If anything, just come by to break the monotony. It's going to be great. Yep. I get to talk about the stuff I've been building. So that's fun.
Yeah. No, I was so bored on the stand at one point, I hopped in a car and headed to the HP garage.
Oh, okay. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
So there's a museum of its own.
I just went, screw this, Yes.
Yeah.
I buggered off to the HP garage for an hour because it was only short drive away,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I thought,
Yeah, I'm sure there's some stuff I could go see in Nuremberg. So.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be away for a week, but looking forward to chatting with you when I get back.
Catch you next time.
See ya.